Xmems. Hello and thank you for clicking on this video where we're talking about my experience on the Hiby Xeno, which is an IEM with a dynamic driver and an Xmems driver that's going to be coming out soon at a price tag of about $150. Xmems drivers are taking over the IEM world at the moment with all these Xmems implementations. So it'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top. But before we begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Hiby for sending this unit in exchange for my honest feedback. However, as always, all thoughts and opinions are my own and are not influenced by any parties. If you've been enjoying what I've been putting out, I hope you consider helping me reach my goal of 3,000 subscribers by hitting that like and subscribe button. I'd appreciate it a lot. This unit was a testing unit that was sent by Hiby for feedback and also for me to share my experience to Hiby and to all of you, so there wasn't any unboxing or additional accessories provided other than the unit itself with a small pouch that it comes with to store the IEMs in. In terms of the design of the IEMs, it comes with a braided cable that has a very nice and sturdy feel to it. Kind of feels like it can take a beating but not being too stiff, and it terminates in USB-C. Unfortunately, it's a fixed cable, so you can't interchange with other IEM cables in your collection. They're using the letter X a lot in their design. You can see that on the faceplate and the control buttons. The control button has a little bit of that console controller design with the plus and minus, I'm assuming for volume control, function button and play button on a silver with a small light indicator. For the IEMs themselves, they carry the same design theme from the controls to the faceplate, though it's towards the corner instead of being at the center, so that might bug some people, and there's a small vent at the top. The shape of the IEM is very circular with very little contouring, but it's relatively compact in size, so testing its fit and comfort. It relies a lot on your ear tips and the ear hooks. However, the ear hooks has a nice solid form, so it helps with the IEMs fitting inside your ear, and due to its small form factor, it won't be applying any unnecessary pressure around your ear. At least it didn't for mine. But it's also not resting or sitting snugly in my ears because of its shape, but it's very lightweight. So once it's in, you kind of forget about it being in your ear. So just going through the button functions, you've got the plus and minus, circle and the triangle button. So plus and minus controls the volume. Holding it for a few seconds does the forward and backwards track selection, the triangle for pause and play, and the circle button is currently functioning as the toggle between different sound modes. Pressing it once, you can see the light indicator flashing. If it flashes yellow once, it's in hi-fi mode, and on this mode is where you can set the EQ settings from the software. Orange flash twice would be dynamic mode, which is apparently boosting the bass, and flashing 3 times in purple is toggling cinema or gaming mode. You don't get to turn these on or off, and it's pretty much cycling through these options by pressing the O button. Also, a small nitpick that I have with the testing unit, there's no volume matching from my knowledge, and plugging this in my computer, the volume is pretty much boosted all the way up, and you have to adjust it from the controls and not from your computer. So I have to constantly remind myself to bring the volume all the way down by clicking the minus button, otherwise you're pretty much blasting your eardrums off. Hopefully this is something Hiby can easily fix with a software patch. So this IEM comes with its own PEQ app, which is like an EQ software created and developed by Hiby to accompany the Xeno. And for now, it's meant to be implemented with the Xeno, but potentially it could be used for Hiby's future devices. But as of recording this video, while the software has been released for use, it still has a lot more room for improvement and development, especially with the interface. You can see despite me stretching it, the text is still all scrunched up and compressed. It's not readable, at least from my computer. Maybe it's just from my computer, I'm not sure. I'll probably follow up with another video on its software in the future. So just going through it very briefly. So if you are someone that is used to using EQ software, something like Peace, then these things shouldn't be too foreign to you, where you have a 10-band EQ which you can adjust the sound by adding or decreasing different aspects of the frequency to suit your personal sound preference. However, I feel that this software could be a lot more user-friendly with maybe colors or some instructions on what to do or where to go. If Hiby can somehow put up like a general instruction showing which frequency affects what aspect of the sound, like 20 to 300 Hz for the lower regions or something like that, what affects mid-bass, what affects sub-bass, etc. I think it'll go a long way into bringing new people into this world of audio, which is EQing. I also have a dedicated video on using the other EQ software if you want to check it out. So to be able to hear the difference, you need to be in hi-fi mode on the Xeno, and you need to tick off the enable button for each frequency to be able to hear hear the difference. Also, in the beginning I received a few update packages to the software, and it did take a little bit of time to try and learn and install, and I hope Hiby could just put in like a check for new software update button somewhere here so that we can just click it, but I think I saw a prompt once for an update, so at least that's happening. All in all, I'm happy that Hiby is now entering this space with its own EQ app and software. However, as mentioned earlier, I feel it's still in its early stages and there's a lot more room for improvement to make it a lot more user-friendly, but unfortunately this software plays a huge part in Xeno's sound profile. Let's talk about it. When I first listened to the Xeno without any EQ implementations from the software, I was ready to write this thing off because the stock tuning just didn't suit me at all. It was just a very flat sounding presentation. You're almost listening to a linear graph, subdued treble, audible but flat sounding bass presentation, but there's still some meat and weight to the notes, very mid-range focus, so you're hearing the vocals but not very much of everything else. It was really confusing at first listening to the Xeno. However, that all changed when you start playing with the software, because I feel what Hiby did here is give you some foundation to build upon. The vocals are front and center, the bass already has some weight to its presentation, but the capabilities of this IEM feels very closed in, like a bird in a small cage. So you or me can tune this IEM to our preference. As I'm boosting things up a little bit in frequency, a little bit more clarity, a little bit more energy up top, a little bit more weight and impact to the bass attack, suddenly the Xeno started opening up to me. Like an introverted person finally starts talking to you and telling you their life story. That's what it felt like listening to the Xeno as I'm EQing it. However, there's a huge caveat to all this experience, which is A, as mentioned earlier, unless Hiby is willing to put out some form of instructions on frequency response, you'd have to do your own homework to understand what different aspect of the frequency does to the sound, to be able to know what you want to increase or decrease from your sound, be it bass, vocal presence, or treble energy. B, upon learning that, there will be a lot of trial and error because it's not as simple as just boosting one aspect of the frequency and everything else will magically follow, so there's going to be tweaks to make the sound after EQ applied to sound like it flows together rather than sounding like it has a bump somewhere in its frequency. The only other alternative is when people start sharing their own EQ settings, then there's that ease of choosing which EQ settings you like best without having to go through the hassle of setting your own. So to sum it all up, as with any first iterations of any concept or devices in the world of technology, it is always going to be met with setbacks, trials and errors, and my only hope for Hiby is that they continuously develop and grow this concept or idea and keep pushing it without letting it go. Similar to Samsung with their first foldable device. They just kept going and we have one of the best foldable phones in the market today, and Hiby has something that has so much potential with this software and this technology. They just need to help other people understand it as well. However, this is based on one man's experience and I'm curious to know yours. Will you be getting the Xeno for yourself, and what are your expectations going into this? Comment below and let me know. And with that all said, thank you again to Hiby for this opportunity and to all of you for watching. See you all in the next video.